All right. Gary Russell Jr., Mr. Gary Russell Jr., has a message for Shakur, Stevenson, and Vasily Lomachenko. He's ready. He wants that smoke from both of them, but he thinks only one of them got enough nerve to fight him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers and supporters. And supporters, thank you guys so much for watching the videos, coming by and being a member of the live stream community that we have Monday through Friday, right around 11:15 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on Sunday for OG Boxing Talk. And much love and thank you for the support to the Patreons over on the Patreon channel. Now, let's talk about a smaller weight class today, the 126-pound weight division, one where a Mr. Gary Russell Jr. from the DMV is one of the top dogs out there, but cannot seem to get a fight. Gary Russell Jr. has been trying to fight Leo Santa Cruz. That's the guy he's really been wanting to fight, Leo Santa Cruz. He also had made some overtures and had a little back and forth between him and Gervonta Davis about him fighting Gervonta Davis. He's been looking for a fight with a rematch with Vasily Lomachenko for years and never came to fruition. And it just seems like Gary Russell Jr. is one of these guys who are a little bit too good for their own. They're too good for their own good. Gary Russell Jr. is very quick hands, got nice power, very technically sound fighter, smart fighter, and a southpaw. That is the recipe for getting ducked. 99 out of 100 times, that's the recipe for getting ducked. Unless you have a promoter that is really trying to put you out there in the forefront and feeding you people, or you're in a situation where nobody can fight, nobody has a chance to get what they want without fighting you. As a southpaw, a lot of times you wind up being in trouble. But he has something positive to say about Shakur Stevenson. Now, Shakur Stevenson is in line for the WBO championship that is currently held by Oscar Valdez, the WBO 126-pound title. I'm not sure if Oscar Valdez has officially vacated that belt or not. The word is that his next fight is going to be up at 130 pounds. So the 126-pound WBO belt will become vacant. And my understanding is that it's a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Joet Gonzalez for the WBO belt. So I'm hoping that might actually be an opportunity for Gary Russell Jr. to get a shot to unify. Now, Gary Russell Jr. has been the WBC champion. The question is whether or not these people are going to the other champions in them divisions are going to actually fight him. And to date, it's not happened. I don't believe that Josh Warrington out of the UK is going to want to fight him. I think Josh Warrington's an IBF. Leo Santa Cruz, and I get some heat from my Mexican national supporters and people that come by the channel and say I just don't like Leo Santa Cruz. And when somebody says that to me, my response is, you're right, 100%. Don't like Leo Santa Cruz. Never met him. Seems like he's a nice enough guy, but he's just somebody that doesn't want to fight the people that he thinks he has a chance to lose to. Maybe he's waiting to do that in the later portion. Now that he's in the later portion of his career, wanting to fight, similar to Abner Mares, wanting to fight Gervonta Davis, and then retire. Maybe that a big payday could get Leo Santa Cruz to fight him, but I just don't see it. But that's not the situation with Gary Russell Jr. And as you remember, Gary Russell Jr. went to some pretty over the top antics trying to get Leo Santa Cruz's attention. And Leo Santa Cruz just said, hey, I'll fight you if my if my team says to fight you, I'll fight you. Which is pretty much saying, man, I'm not going to fight you. Just like he did to Rigondeaux, like Mares did to Rigondeaux, Frampton did to Rigondeaux. So when Gary Russell Jr. brings up Shakur Stevenson, and he says he thinks Shakur Stevenson is the only guy out there that has the nerve, that would have the nerve, I think he said the balls, to face Mr. Gary Russell Jr., I think that he's telling the truth. I think that he's right. I think Shakur Stevenson is the only one of those guys. If he gets that WBO belt, I absolutely positively believe that he's the only one that would fight Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell said, hey, man, if you can get it, if he wants it, he can get it. He said he knows Shakur Stevenson. He thinks highly of Shakur Stevenson. He likes Shakur Stevenson. But if Shakur Stevenson, it's a profession. If he wants to get in that ring, he can get it. Now, so a WBO, WBC unification fight at 126 pounds between the two of them, I think would be a really good fight. And I know there's going to be people that are going to say, hey, man, that's too early for Shakur Stevenson to fight somebody like Gary Russell Jr. And I'll tell you, man, I'll say the same thing about Shakur Stevenson and Gary Russell Jr. as I say about Jaime Munguia and Jermell Charlo or Jaime Munguia and Julian Williams or Tony Harrison. Jaime Munguia is young, but you got a belt. You got a belt, try to unify the belt. If you got a belt, try to unify the belt. Now, if you somehow relinquish your belt, then you can go back to figuring you need to rebuild some stuff, then okay. But if you, during the time that you have the belt, you need to defend that belt against top-notch quality opponents, and Gary Russell Jr. definitely fits in that. Now, is that fight likely to happen? No, it is not likely to happen. And it's not likely to happen for the same reason that I believe the Vasily Lomachenko rematch is never going to happen. And that's because of Bob Arum. And I got to point it out because certain supporters of the channel and people come by the channel, you know who you are, you get selective memory and what I'm saying about a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Gary Russell Jr. is more than likely true. That Bob Arum is not going to risk his young champion against Gary Russell Jr., who could very well beat Shakur Stevenson. Right? I'm not going to get into who I think will win that fight. I don't want to be disrespectful to either guy. I think they both have strengths. I think they both have weaknesses. Experience is definitely on the side of Gary Russell Jr. I think maybe length and foot speed might be on to the advantage of Shakur Stevenson. If I had to pick right now who I think is going to win the fight, I would go with Gary Russell Jr. for the experience, for the hand speed, and the dude just looks really, really good. And I don't think Shakur Stevenson is quite where he's going to be when he gets to his peak. But that's what Bob Arum's going to think too, I believe. And as a result, Bob Arum's not going to put him in there with him. He might have Shakur Stevenson fight have a defense or two of the WBO belt after he beats Joet Gonzalez. If he beats Joet Gonzalez, which I do believe he will, and then boom, you're up to 130 pounds to fight for the WBO title at 130 pounds. And like most Bob Arum fighters, he's not going to pop up and fight. More than likely, he's not going to pop up and fight, for any unification for another belt other than the WBO for a while. The exception to that being Jose Ramirez up there at 140 pounds, who got the WBC belt before he got the WBO belt when he beat Maurice Hooker. However, please recall that Jose Ramirez was supposed to fight Regis Prograis in that little mini tournament where Regis Prograis, I think he fought Julius Ndongo, and Jose Ramirez fought Emir Imam, and those two guys wound up winning. The 5 minutes after the fight, Bob Arum's like, man, we ain't doing that. We going somewhere else. And the fight never, ever occurred. So, I don't see that happening. Now, the last little funny bit about that video from and this is on Fight Hype, by the way. Little funniness is Gary Russell Jr. said that, talking about how good a fighter he is, and he is, and asked if he wanted the Lomachenko rematch. He said, "Of course I do. They got a drained. I think I can beat him. They fought a drained Gary Russell Jr. and." But these people just want to act like Orlando Salido never beat Lomachenko. Man, I thought that shit was funny. Anyway, it is what it is. Let me know what you think about Shakur Stevenson, Gary Russell Jr. Can it happen? Should it happen? And with that, we out. Peace.